Good evening, students. So I was discussing the structure of stamen and microsporangium yesterday, and we learned about microsporogenesis. So microsporogenesis leads to the formation of microspores from microspore mother cell through meiosis. This microsporogenesis occur in the microsporangium. So here microspore tetrad are produced. So after the nuclear division, after the karyokinetic division, when the pollen mother cell or microspore mother cell nucleus divide, it is followed by cytokinesis. So after meiosis, after the division of the nucleus, after the meiosis, there will be cytokinesis here. After the meiotic division, what happens from the microspore mother cell, you will get pollen tetrad like this, and these pollen grain will be haploid in nature. So after the meiosis, there will be cytokinesis. After meiosis means that is the division of the nucleus, there will be cytokinesis. So here two types of cytokinesis you can differentiate. One is successive cytokinesis. Another one, simultaneous cytokinesis. These two different types of cytokinesis can result in the formation of what you call pollen tetrad or microspore tetrad. Successive. In this successive cytokinesis, after each meiosis, meiosis has meiosis first, then meiosis second. Meiosis first is actual reduction division, where the chromosome number from diploid is reduced to haploid. Then meiosis second, that is actually equational division, that result in the formation of four what you call microspore arranged in the form of what you call tetrad. Now, in this successive cytokinesis, after each meiotic division, say meiosis first, there will be cytokinesis. Then meiosis second, there will be cytokinesis. So cytokinesis occurs after each meiotic division. This kind of successive cytokinesis result in the formation of isobilateral tetrad. Isobilateral tetrad is formed from the microspore mother cell. So how is the isobilateral tetrad? This is isobilateral tetrad. The pollen grains are arranged in this pattern because of this successive cytokinesis. Successive cytokinesis, after each meiotic division there is cytokinesis, result in the formation of isobilateral tetrad. Now, this isobilateral tetrad formation, that is seen usually in monocots. It is seen in monocot. Formation of isobilateral tetrad due to the successive cytokinesis is considered to be advanced type. Now moving on to the second one, that is simultaneous cytokinesis. In case of simultaneous cytokinesis occur. The division of the cytoplasm is called cytokinesis. Cytokinesis occur after complete meiotic division. Complete meiotic division means meiosis first and meiosis second. Both should complete. Both should occur. So after the completion of both meiotic first and meiotic second, then finally at the end there will be cytokinesis. So in simultaneous cytokinesis, after meiosis first and meiosis second, means completely after meiosis there will be cytokinesis. There will be cytokinesis. In this case, what I told, in this successive, after each meiotic division there is cytokinesis. Means meiosis first, after that cytokinesis, after meiosis second, cytokinesis. Here completely after meiosis, that include both first and second, then there will be cytokinesis. When this kind of cytokinesis occur, that is simultaneous cytokinesis occur, there will be formation of tetrahedral tetrad. There will be formation of tetrahedral tetrad. Tetrahedral tetrad is formed after simultaneous cytokinesis. So this is seen mainly in dicots. It is seen in mainly dicots. So in monocot we have isobilateral tetrad, and in dicot we have tetrahedral tetrad. Remember, these are the two main types of pollen tetrad or microspore tetrad which are formed after microsporogenesis. Keep it in mind. One example I will give. In this plant, you have 5 kind of tetrad formation. That includes isobilateral tetrad and tetrahedral tetrad. In addition to that, 3 more. So this is the tetrahedral, and this is which I have drawn earlier. Isobilateral. Example, Aristolochia elegans. In this type of plant, we'll find 5 types of tetrad formation. Tetrahedral, isobilateral, then this is T-shaped tetrad. Linear tetrad. Decussate tetrad. So these are the 5 types of pollen tetrad or microspore tetrad formation in example Aristolochia elegans. So after the maturation of the anther, there will be dehiscence of the anther and these pollen grains or microspores will be released. See, the pollen grains are found as a tetrad, microspore tetrad or pollen tetrad. This is a tetrad. The pollen grains are held together. 4 pollen grains are there in tetrad. These 4 pollen grains are held together by callose wall layer. By callose wall layer, they are held together. On the maturity, finally, what happens? These microspores or pollen grains will be released separately. So these get released from the anther. So this callose wall layer which can hold the pollen grain can break down on the maturity by the action of callase enzyme. By the action of callase enzyme. These enzymes can be secreted by the tapetum. So callase enzyme can break down the callose wall layer. Because of that, individual pollen grains can get separated. So you will get 4 pollen grain formation at the end from each microspore mother cell. So this is how the microsporogenesis occur, which result in the formation of microspores or the pollen grains. So microspore can develop into pollen grain. Examples like Calotropis, Echidna, orchids. In them, when microsporangia produce the pollen grain, the pollen grains will not get separated. The pollen grains will adhere with each other. The pollen grains will adhere with each other to form the single mass of pollen grain. The single mass of pollen grain is formed due to the attachment or adhering of the pollen grains. In these example, this you call it as pollinia. So this structure is called as pollinia. So pollinia is the mass of pollen grain. All the pollen grains, they are not getting separately and dusted as loose powder. Instead, all these pollen grain adhere together, attach together to form a single mass, that we call it as pollinia. Pollinia is plural, pollinium singular. So this kind of structure you can see in calotropis and orchids, that you keep it in mind. Now, I will give other example. In Cyperaceae family, in Cyperaceae family, example you have cypress, you have cypress. This point you remember. Usually, one microspore mother cell produce 4 microspores. Usually. Fine. Out of the 4 microspores produced, 3 will degenerate. 3 will degenerate. When the 3 will degenerate, that means how many functional microspore will be left out? Single. So 1 microspore will be formed. That means one meiotic division from single microspore mother cell can lead to the formation of only 1 functional microspore. As 3 microspores are getting degenerated, especially in this family Cyperaceae, okay, so 1 microspore mother cell, instead of producing 4 functional microspore, usually all the microspores will be functional. So instead of producing 4 functional microspore, 3 will degenerate and 1 will remain. So that is 1 functional microspore will be formed or produced in case of cypress or Cyperaceae family. Remember this point. Polyspory. When more than 4 microspores are produced from a microspore mother cell, then you call it as polyspory. Normally, from 1 microspore mother cell, 4 microspores are formed. But in this case, more than 4 microspores are produced from single microspore mother cell, that we call it as polyspory. Remember, this polyspory is seen in example Cuscuta reflexa. It is a parasitic plant, okay, stem parasite. Cuscuta reflexa, in that we can see polyspory, formation of more than 4 microspores from single microspore mother cell. So this you try to remember as an extra information. So this is all about microsporogenesis. Now we will start with the structure of pollen grain. structure of pollen grain. What do you mean by pollen grain? Pollen grain is a partially developed male gametophyte. Pollen grain is not a gamete. Pollen grain is a gametophyte. So usually what we say, pollen grain is so the pollen grains, they vary in size, shape, color and design. We can study about these pollen grains. The branch of botany which mainly deals with the study of pollen grains, you call it as palynology. The branch of botany which mainly deals with study of pollen grains is known as palynology. So these pollen grains vary. The pollen grains of different flowers of different species, they vary in size, shape, color, okay, and design. This pollen grain generally spherical in shape. It is spherical in shape. The size is 25 to 50 micrometer in size. Size is 25 to 50 micrometer in size. This is the external view of pollen grain, which has spines on its surface. Spines, warts, ridges, furrows, different artistic pattern or design is found on the surface of the pollen grain. So each pollen grain has its own kind of sculpture work. Pollen grain has its own different kind of artistic pattern or designs. So each pollen grain is characterized by the presence of such what you call artistic pattern or design on its surface. So this pollen grain has a wall layer. Pollen grain is protected by the wall layer. The wall layer of the pollen grain is known as sporoderm. It is called as sporoderm. This sporoderm has two wall layers. Sporoderm in turn has two wall layers. Outer exine and inner intine. This is the internal structure of a pollen grain. So you can see the two wall layers, outer exine and inner intine. So first we will have exine layer. Exine layer further differentiated into two layers. Outer ectexine and inner endexine. Outer ectexine and inner endexine. So this ectexine, it is highly sculptured. I told different ornamentation work, artistic design or pattern are there on the surface of that. That is how we are going to identify the pollen grain of different flower species, all that. So it is highly sculptured, it has ornamentation work, okay, different pattern or designs are present. So this ectexine is further differentiated into three layers. So this ectexine is further differentiated into three layers. These are outer tectum, middle baculum, inner foot. Outer tectum, middle baculum, inner foot layer. These are the three different layers of ectexine. This tectum has different types of ornamentation or highly sculptured work, that remember. So based on the ornamentation or artistic pattern or design present on the exine layer, okay, you can see spiny margins here, right? So based on the artistic pattern, the pollen grain of different plant species can be assigned. That helps in mainly taxonomic studies. So these plants, based on the pollen grain structure, okay, so these can be assigned to a particular family, class, genus. So that kind of grouping we can do mainly in taxonomic studies. So that is how the pollen grain structure can help. So outer tectum, middle baculum and inner foot layer. These are the three sublayers of ectexine. It is highly sculptured, ornamented. This exine layer is made up of a chemical. That chemical is one of the most resistant organic substance, a kind of fatty substance. It is a kind of fatty substance. It is resistant substance, resistant chemical substance, organic substance. So exine layer is made up of sporopollenin, which is one of the most resistant organic substance. It is a kind of fatty substance related to cutin. It is related to cutin. This sporopollenin is present in the exine layer. Sporopollenin is resistant to, it is resistant to high temperature. It is resistant to high temperature, strong acids and alkali treatment. As I told, it is one of the what you call resistant organic substance. It is resistant to high temperature, resistant to strong acid and alkali attack. This sporopollenin is not degraded by any of the known enzyme. No known enzyme is available which can degrade the sporopollenin. No known enzyme is available to degrade the sporopollenin. So as this sporopollenin is present in the enzyme, so this enzyme layer is thick, tough, protective covering. Protective covering. Remember, thick, tough, protective covering. Now, due to the presence of this sporopollenin, the pollen grains of the ancient plants, past plants, are preserved as. Due to the presence of sporopollenin, pollen grains of ancient plants are preserved as microfossils. Pollen grains are preserved as microfossils as these are not easily degraded. Okay, they resist unfavorable condition. So these pollen grains can remain in the media, in the air or in water. Okay, and of the ancient plant which lived long back, many years back, these pollen grains can survive. Okay, so that is because of the sporopollenin which is deposited in the exine layer. That's why the pollen grains are called as microfossils. That remember. So after the exine layer, now you can see here, exine layer is interrupted here. The exine layer has prominent apertures on it. Exine layer has prominent apertures. The prominent germ pores. The number of germ pores variable. That remember. The number of germ pore variable. So this is the reason where germ pore is there. That is the reason in the exine where sporopollenin is absent. Sporopollenin is absent in the germ pore region. What is the use of this germ pore? When the pollen grain germinate, when the pollen grain germinate and produce pollen tube, that pollen tube can come out of that germ pore. Remember, that can come out of the germ pore. Now listen, the number of the germ pore variable I told. Single germ pore. Monocolpate. If single germ pore is there, we call it as monocolpate. If two germ pores are there, bicolpate. If three are there, tricolpate. Monocolpate usually we see in monocots. So monocolpate is seen mainly in monocots. Monocolpate pollen grain present in monocot. Bicolpate and tricolpate found in dicot pollen grain. Remember. So germ pore is meant for emergence of the pollen tube. Pollen tube is formed from intine layer. Pollen tube is formed from intine layer, and that pollen tube come out of that what you call the exine through the germ pore. I told endexine, outer ectexine and inner endexine. These are the two layers in exine. I told endexine is not sculptured. It is not sculptured. Endexine is not sculptured. So main sculpture work you can see in ectexine. Ectexine, I told three layers will be there: outer tectum, middle baculum and inner foot layer. So overall this is about the exine layer. Exine layer, it can have spines, warts, ridges, grooves, different types of design or ornamentation pattern can be present on the pollen grain. Based on that we can recognize the pollen grain of particular species. Now move on to the inner layer. The inner layer, what you are seeing here, this red one, inner layer. Okay, so this is intine layer. Intine layer is thin. Intine layer is thin and it is continuous. It is continuous. Exine layer is interrupted due to the presence of germ pore. Intine layer is thin, continuous. Exine is made up of sporopollenin, I told, one of the most resistant organic substance. Okay, whereas intine is made up of cellulose and pectin. Intine is made up of cellulose and pectin. So what we call pectocellulosic wall. Pectocellulosic wall. Intine is going to produce the pollen tube. This pollen tube is formed from the intine. That pollen tube is meant to carry the male gamete. That remember, pollen grain will produce the male gamete. Pollen grain, I told, partially developed male gametophyte or immature male gametophyte. Okay, you will come to know how many cells are there here. As per the figure here, it is a two-cell structure. It is a two-cell structure. Now you see, this is the cytoplasm which is surrounded by plasma membrane. So this is the plasma membrane surrounding the cytoplasm. This pollen grain, you know that it is a haploid structure. It is a haploid structure, haploid, immature or partially developed male gametophyte. Okay, so here what I have drawn, it is a two-cell structure. Now you can see here, in a pollen grain, you have one larger cell. This is the larger cell. That larger cell is called a vegetative cell or tube cell. Vegetative cell or tube cell. It contains this what you call vegetative nucleus. It contains vegetative nucleus. So this vegetative cell is larger with dense cytoplasm, vacuole, okay, abundant reserve food. abundant reserve food in the form of starch, reserve food in the form of starch, unsaturated oil. These will be there in this vegetative cell, and it has irregular shaped nucleus. This is vegetative nucleus, tube nucleus. So this vegetative cell is larger, having dense cytoplasm. It has vacuole, it has abundant reserve food material, stored starch, and it has unsaturated oils. Okay, it has irregular shaped nucleus, that is vegetative nucleus. This vegetative nucleus can degenerate. It will not take part in fertilization, it can degenerate. Now, you see another cell here. This is another cell. So, this layer which separate vegetative cell from generative cell. Okay, callose wall layer. This is the callose wall layer. Okay, so this is generative cell. This callose wall layer can disintegrate. It can break down. Callose wall layer. This is callose wall layer. It can break down. As a result of which, what happens? The generative cell can float in the cytoplasm of the vegetative cell. Generative cell can float in the cytoplasm of the vegetative cell. It is smaller in size. Generative cell is smaller in size. It has a dense cytoplasm. It is spindle shaped. It is spindle shaped containing nucleus. Remember, vegetative cell which contain intine, this is the intine layer. Okay, vegetative cell which contain intine layer, that vegetative cell covering intine is going to produce the pollen tube. It is going to produce pollen tube. So the vegetative cell intine is going to produce pollen tube. That's why vegetative cell is also called as tube cell. It is also called as a tube cell. It is going to produce pollen tube. The intine layer which is there in the vegetative cell will produce the pollen tube. That's why it is also called as tube cell. Now, this generative cell, this generative nucleus, see, these structures are haploid structures only. Remember, vegetative nucleus haploid, generative nucleus haploid. Vegetative nucleus larger, irregular shape. Okay, so generative nucleus smaller. This generative nucleus it can divide mitotically and produce two male gametes. It can produce two male gametes. Remember. So here, generative nucleus can divide mitotically and can produce two male gametes. Now listen. In a pollen grain, when there are vegetative cell and generative cell, then it is called a two-cell stage. It is called as two-cell stage. In 60% of the angiospermic plants, when the pollen grains are shed, released, they will be in two-cell stage containing vegetative cell and tubes. This vegetative or tube cell and another one generative cell. two cell stage it has vegetative cell, generative cell. 60% of angiosperms. In them, pollen grains, when they are released on maturity, they will be in two cell stage. Now listen, around 40%, remaining 40% of the angiosperms when the pollen grains are released, they will be in three cell stage. When the pollen grains are released, they will be in three cell stage. How it will be three cell stage? See here, three cell stage contain vegetative cell, a larger vegetative cell and two male gametes. This is called three cell stage. 40% of the angiosperms which are shed in three cell stage. So when they are shed in three cell stage, further development will not occur. Initially it will be two cell stage. After development it will become three cell stage. So when the pollen grains are shed at three cell stage, further development will not be there. So in three cell stage, what happens? Vegetative cell containing vegetative nucleus will be there. Okay. Here what happens, as I told, the generative nucleus present in the generative cell divide mitotically. I told it divide mitotically and produce two male gametes. So that's why you will see these are two male gametes and one vegetative cell. Total we can say three celled stage. So three celled pollen grain. Three celled pollen grain we call it as mature male gametophyte. Three celled stage of the pollen grain is referred as mature male gametophyte. Usually if it is present in two cell stage, we call it as partially developed male gametophyte, because there are only two cells, still gametes are not formed. See, whenever pollination occur in two cell stage, when pollen grains are released, okay, from the anther in two cell stage, further development of the pollen grain. Further development means generative nucleus divide mitotically and produce two male gametes. Further development of the pollen grain occur on the stem of the flower after pollination. To keep it in mind. So the pollen grain can be either in two cell stage or it can be in three cell stage. So this is the structure of a pollen grain. Remember this. See, I told about the germ pore. Germ pore. We use the term germ pore. If these are round, that prominent aperture which is present on the exine layer, if they are round, usually we call it a germ pore. On the exine layer, the aperture can be found as elongated. This we call it as germinal furrow. Germinal furrow. So where sporopollen will be absent. So monocots, I told monocolpate. In monocolpate, that is single germinal furrow will be there, like this, elongated. And in case of dicot, you have the germ pore, that is either bicolpate, 2 germ pore or 3 germ pore, whatever it is, right? Bicolpate or tricolpate. So this is the structure of pollen grain, that remember, very important for 3 marks. Explain the structure of pollen grain, 3 mark. Microsporogenesis, 1 mark. Structure of young anther, 5 marks. So these you have to remember, very, very important. Development of male gametophyte. So how a microspore develop into a mature pollen grain? A microspore, which is formed after microsporogenesis. So development of the vacuole in the cytoplasm of the microspore. See, development of microspore is precocious. Development of the male gametophyte is precocious, and it is in situ, in the mother place only, in the mother place where it is produced, there itself the development process starts, that is in the microsporangium. In the microsporangium itself, when the microspore tetrad are formed in the microsporangium, there itself the microspore development into pollen grain begins. That's why I told in situ, in the mother place, and early development will be there. Precocious means early development. Now what happens? This is the protoplast of the microspore. This is the protoplast of the microspore. The protoplast of the microspore divide unequally. Unequal division will be there. It is a haploid structure. Microspore is a haploid structure. Whatever the division you will see, it is mitotic division. Okay. So it divide unequally. When it divide unequally, there is formation of asymmetric spindle. When mitotic division occur, during the cell division, there will be spindle fiber formation, all that, right? Asymmetric spindle will be formed because of unequal division of the protoplast, as a result of which, now there will be formation of larger vegetative cell and a smaller generative. So this is two cell structure. So here the nucleus which is there, it has divided into two nuclei. One is larger vegetative nucleus and another one smaller generative nucleus, and cytoplasmic division also has resulted in the formation of a larger vegetative cell and a smaller generative cell. Initially both these cells are separated by the what you call callose wall layer. Soon it can disintegrate. As a result, this generative cell, which is spindle shaped, float in the cytoplasm of the vegetative cell. So this is what you call it as a two cell stage. Then further what happens now, this generative nucleus, this is the nucleus of the generative cell, it divides into two male gametes, and here you have the vegetative nucleus. This is all vegetative cell, okay, and these are the two male gametes. So this we can call it as three cell stage. So this is how development of male gametophyte occur. This you keep it in mind, right? It is in situ, it is precocious, which begins inside the microsporangium only. Initially it will be two cell stage, and later on it can become three cell stage. Three cell stage I told, it is a mature male gametophyte. Two cell stage, partially developed male gametophyte. Okay, so two cell stage, male gametes are not formed still, sperms are not formed still. Okay, it has generative nucleus. Generative nucleus only will produce two male gametes. Vegetative cell is going to produce that what you call pollen tube through the intine. Intine only will produce pollen tube, which can come out through germ pore. Right? So this is about the development of the male gametophyte. Right? So I will stop here. Remaining I will continue tomorrow.
One set.